I don't know if you have this expression, but I usually use the phrase cat herder.
What?
Cat herder.
Cat herder.
Yeah, when you have cats, you try and like make them all do the same thing.
Okay.
I'm called Microsoft is called lead program manager. At most other places, it would be called a lead producer. So I coordinate all the disciplines and throw them together into a master schedule that matches with marketing and the vision of the game.
Yes, it is.
Basically just
And the answer is.
A few of us have, not everyone, and I confess I'm one of the people who have not.
Okay.
But there's clearly a lot of people who go back a long ways. Mitch is one of them to tell you about his characters. We have a sign on our door when you go in. You know, when you buy a CD that has bad words on it, it says parental advisory. We have one of those on our doors so people know, come in here and you may be offended. I worked on a bunch of franchises you might have heard of, Ultima Online, Sims, a bunch of games in the 90s you probably haven't heard of. I started the business in CDI, which you may know. Yeah, back in the day I worked on Burn Cycle, I produced an EA, 7th Guest CDI. I go back away.
Yeah, that's a way.
The challenge is really, we didn't have a lot of challenge with it. The idea is we have a lot of people who are very, very strong in multiplayer game development, and they're very, very passionate about what they do. So when you decide what you want to do next, you look at three things. What are we equipped to do? What do we have the right skills to do? What do we really want to do? Because unless we really want to do it, we're not going to do it very well. And what makes sense for the business? So can we actually make money at it? Because in the end, you kind of got to do that or stop letting you do things. So when they looked at originally what they wanted to do next, the lead designer of Halo, and we looked at a lot of the things that you can do in Halo and Counter-Strike that are considered cheating. Seeing through walls and being able to go through walls. We thought, well, that sounds like magic. And what if you just made a game where that was part of the gameplay? So it wasn't really like we thought that, well, we have to fit Shadowrun into an FPS. It was more like, well, this is magic. And what if you combine magic and an FPS? And don't we have a Shadowrun thing? And isn't that an interesting IP? And could we look into that IP and use some more things in the game? Some more things in the game. So it's kind of worked out. It's been all about the gameplay.
You gotta understand when you.
Well, I think they've looked at all the FPSs out there, that are popular. You certainly, every time you do a new game, you look at other stuff in the genre and you pull out ideas that you like. Of course, Counter-Strike and Call of Duty and all of that. But I think more importantly, FASA tends to draw on its own history. So back in the day, I don't know if you're familiar with Virtual World.
Yeah.
Red Planet and Battletech, that sort of stuff. One of the reasons I was really crazy about wanting to work for FASA was because I was addicted to Red Planet back in the day.
The railgun.
Actually, not the railgun. It was like the VTRs, the flying.
Yeah, it's cool also.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now. I never took mixed weapons.
They can't fix it.
Okay.
Like I was a spec. I have like boosters and all that stuff.
Well, your character doesn't
But
move
they look upon things that they've done in the past. These people have learned a lot about making games. There's some old people in FASA who have been like 12 years, old school FASA people, who can teach those of us who are new, like, this is what we did back then, and this is what we did. I was addicted to Red Planet in the same way that I'm addicted to this. You two are gamers, so you probably know the feeling. You know that feeling you get when it's like, this is a perfect game. I can't stop playing. I really should pee right now, but nah, it's like another round. This is what we get whenever we take this game. Playing a year and a half. That answers your question, but whatever is special about FASA, whatever made that game, has found its way into this world.
It's actually not decided.
It's the same sort of visceral kind of thing.
I don't know.
We haven't even on the team who's part of the original creation of the PNP game. We certainly have a lot of people on the team who played a lot of it.
That is the truth.
David Abzug, our community manager right now. He can tell you all about it. Mitch will tell you all about it. People don't think Mitch knows We actually have 3. I don't know, one is a fairly recent edition. It's kind of a funny story how we got it. We just didn't do 2 game types for the longest time because we have to plan the map around how many game types there are. So obviously some games, our team doesn't support like pure deathmatch. It's not that kind of game. But we have a bunch of people in the office who are not hardcore FPS players. They're pretty good, but they're not great. And if they play against the people who are really good, it's not much fun for them. They just get cooked down. So they invented their own club. And about 7 o'clock every night after dinner had arrived, they take a half an hour, 40 minutes, and do what they call Club Potty Mouth. They take over the testing labs, and they invented this game type where they sort of mutually agreed rules. You don't clear bodies, you kill people, but you don't clear the body. And you can take the flag, and you can use it as a weapon, but you cannot score. So this was just a gentleman's agreement kind of thing. And these people just got so into it. I was one of them actually. And the reason it's called Club Potty Mouth is because I find out combinations of words I didn't know existed. I was like, wow, that's an interesting concept. Those 2 words together. We have a couple people on the team who can swear like nobody I've ever heard in my life. And just like loud screaming and laughing. It was so fun. It was a different experience than playing with the really serious players. It was just so fun. So now we have a map type in there called attrition, and it's basically team deathmatch, but with those rules. So the only difference between what they were doing and what we're doing now is when you take the flag, you can see everyone else in the map. You can have a different vision, but they can also see you.
People say that, think about it this way.
The third, it's not bad. We're actually doing smaller versions of some of the maps to make it more fun. It's more fun.
I just think it's unfair.